Okay, now let's stop it because no, let's. Okay, happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first Cyber Phoenix robotics team meeting over Zoom, and I've got an agenda here that I want to go over quickly, but at the same time, I'm not going to go over it so quickly that if you have questions or concerns that I don't want you to speak up. I definitely want you to if you got any questions at all, any concerns, let's talk about them, or at the very least, let's document them, and then we can come back to them. And if you're concerned that somebody's not here, like I said, I'm recording this. We're going to post it on YouTube, and folks can go back and look at what we talked about. So just jump right in. First thing we got is the Great Lakes Bot Bash, and that's on Saturday, September 13th. I've already registered for that, and that is in Midland, I believe. So I'm securing transportation. Obviously, parents are more than welcome to come. I don't know if I really have room on the van for folks, but if parents want to come and get chauffeured, I will make room. I will. Right now, I was just planning on driving the van that one of the that we kind of get from Mr. Pettigrew. But if we've got parents that want to come and, like I said, don't want to drive, we'll make room. We'll take something bigger. I'm okay with that. You just let me know, and we'll do that. There's not really too much to say about it. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but right now, just that's something that's upcoming. You know, we've got 30-ish days before that, and that's, like I said, that's in Midland. Then the next thing we've got is the Kettering Kickoff, and that's the very next weekend. Excuse me. And that's 3 days. That is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. September 19th, 20th, and 21st. Although there's 3 days for the event, we can only register for 2. So I registered for Friday because I know the kids would love to get out of school, and then the 21st. So Friday and Sunday are the days that I set up for the Kettering Kickoff. If anybody has any concerns, I don't think it's too late for me to go back and maybe switch, to a Saturday, if that would be better and more conducive for everybody. So that's just something that we just got to talk about, if that's going to work better for you. Excuse me. But also, I signed us up to do concessions all 3 days for the Kettering Kickoff. So I think it was it last weekend? I bought a bunch of stuff from like Sam's, and cinnamon rolls and pops and whatnot, and we were selling them in an event that we weren't part of. It was called the All-Star Alliance Challenge, I believe. And I had several team members there. Esperanza, I think Andre, Andrew, I think Nazir was there. Well, anyway, so we sold some stuff. I think I bought a little too much for the time that we were there, but we got 3 days to where we're going to be selling more stuff. So it's an okay fundraiser. At the very least, I know I'm going to recoup whatever I spent, but I think it's an easy fundraiser. And if somebody has any questions or concerns about doing that, what my plan was just to split up the team to have, say, 2 or so people doing concessions while the rest of the team is doing the event. And then we can swap. We can have people switch out. This person's driving, and then we have the driver switch, and then they work the concession stand. So I don't foresee any problems with that. if anybody has any questions or concerns about that, just please let me know. Like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff to sell already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk in with the stuff that we have on September 19th. And I'm going to gauge how that stuff sells. And then I might purchase some more on the 20th or the 21st. I will say that a couple people were asking for Red Bulls. So I think I might buy a case of Red Bull. But other than that, that's there's nothing really new on that front. I apologize. My phone keeps going off and I'm just trying to check to see if somebody's got a question about joining the Zoom. No, it's everybody. Okay. So anyway, so those are the first three things. The next thing was, are we going to redesign the robot? And I needed to know, well, I need to know about this ASAP because there's some parts that I need to buy. And I got the authorization to take the school credit card. And, you know, I love spending other folks' money. So I got the school credit card and I can purchase that stuff and have it, you know, have them in the process of shipping that stuff to us. You know, like I could have that process started tomorrow if we're going to redesign a robot. The thing is, if I'm just going to skip down to where I got this Kettering agenda, and I'll explain why it's Kettering agenda in a minute. But the thing that I want to highlight is that even if we don't design the robot, there is still some stuff that needs to be done to it. You know, we can't just say, okay, well, we're just going to not do anything. We're not going to meet. And then when we have that event on the 13th, we're just going to go and no, we've got, there's some parts that need to be repaired and or rebuilt. We also need to do some lubrication on swerve drive gears. We need to retread the wheels. There are several things that need to be done, and then several things that could be done. And so with that, we could take this opportunity and just do some redesigning because there's some stuff that's happening on the robot that's a bit ineffective. One of the things, the rules sort of have changed a bit, and so the scoring is different. And one of the bigger issues was that when we have now I forgot the terms, the algae, the big rubber ball, when we pick that up and we sort of deposit it in that little slot that's to the side, what that does is that gives that ball to the opposite alliance, and then they're able to score from it. So we get 6 points, I believe, for that. But then they get a potential 4 points for scoring that shooting that ball up into that scoring, whatever we want to call it, that vein or shelf or whatever you want to call it. And so they get 4 points for that. So in essence, we're getting 2 points for doing that. And when we were watching the Alliance that happened last week, what a lot of teams are doing is they are skipping that. They are just grabbing the ball, grabbing the algae, and they're using their elevators and they're lifting it up and dropping it into that area. And I believe they're getting just 4 points without helping the other team. And the scores were crazy. There were like 200 to 190 something. I mean, that when we were playing this game, the scores weren't that high, or at least not that high consistently. And there's some things that we really could, I won't say need, but we could reconsider, and we could do some redesigning. There are plenty of resources out on the internet. There are plenty of other plans we can look at. I was planning on having something to show you before this meeting, but I didn't get a chance to, so I apologize. But after this meeting, I'm definitely going to be doing some research, just looking up some things. And I would like to encourage our team to redesign, to do some work and see about making our elevator a better delivery system. And then as far as the coral, right now, the coral delivery system, that is actually, that needs to be repaired. Now, it's not a really intense repair, but it needs to be repaired. And we can take this opportunity, since it needs to be repaired, we could maybe do a little redesigning on that and make that more effective. But that means that people need to show up on Tuesday and Thursday. I canceled the meeting today because I couldn't get any confirmation on anybody. Well, I take that back, not anybody. I got confirmation that Andre was going to be there, and then I got confirmation that Esperanza was not. Later on, I believe Marlon, he apologized and told me that he couldn't make it. So that's 3 right now. I believe our membership is down to 8. Yeah, we barely scored 3 coral. Okay, thank you for that, Andre. I don't have the stats in front of me of what we did and how we did. That's something else that we probably, well, there is no probably, that we need to do, is keep better stats about how we're scoring and what we're scoring and what problems we're having. And I'd like to use this website as a place, if we're not just keeping a logbook, we can also post some things to where the team can just hop on the website and look at some things like, okay, that last game that we did, we scored this, or that last game, our wheel kept popping off, or whatever the case may be. So maybe we use this to put some notes to where folks can look that up. So I would like to do that, but I'm also open to any suggestion. So I want to have a logbook that we're keeping. We haven't been. I think I started that a while ago, but we haven't been keeping up on it. So we need to do better on that. Dre, I would really appreciate you taking point on that. So you don't necessarily have to, but I would appreciate you taking point on that since you're here and I can call you out. But that being said, on a logbook for keeping track of how we do in our matches, scoring, and problems that we faced. And then we can go back and look at that logbook. Okay. I'll buy some fancy smancy notebook, and if you want, we can deal with that later. So going back to the agenda, that was, are we going to redesign? So that's something that we need to come together and decide, because frankly, I could talk with Mr. Whitaker and we could just say, yep, we're going to rebuild it. But I mean, you guys are the ones that have to build it. So I don't want to make that decision. I want you guys to make that decision. So, and it needs to be a team decision. We need to all get together and decide, because it's going to be work to do that. New swerve drive. I purchased 15 of the Talon motors. We only need 8 for a swerve drive, but I purchased 15 of them so we could have, so we could set up a new swerve drive, and then the one that we're currently using, that would be our tester. So we're going to push that to the side, and we're going to redo. Well, not redo, but we're going to build from the ground up a new swerve drive. I've got something that I was looking at, and the actual swerve drive components aren't the issue. It was just the motors, the availability. So I got on that as soon as they were available, and actually it was a pre-order, so they're still a little bit in limbo. But I made a pre-order for 15 of them, and so that's something that we can do after, I would say, September. So swerve drive, while I definitely want to talk about it, that's not something that I'm making a priority right this minute. The priority needs to be the current robot that we have and the 2 competitions that we have coming up. But just to let you know that that's coming, I've got money to buy those components. I'm just holding off on that because I want to make, whether we're going to redesign the robot or just repair the robot, that I want to make that our biggest priority for right now. And after we get that done, then we can, then we'll go with the new swerve drive. But I'm excited about it. It's I don't want to say the latest and greatest, but it's something that, let me see if I can just show you real quick. Yeah, right here. Okay, so I'm looking at this unit right here, if you remember, we ended up 3D printing a cover similar to this. I mean, not exactly like this, but a cover similar to this. And this thing's already going to come with a cover that'll be integrated. And I'm excited about getting this stuff. I'm gonna have. I said talons. I don't think I said Krakens. I apologize. I was talking about Kraken motors. So we're gonna have a bunch of Kraken motors. We're gonna also have extra to use on the robot for intake and whatnot. So I'm really excited about having a surplus of Kraken motors. Uh, I'm actually planning to get 5 of these modules. So we'll have 4, for the robot, and then we'll have one that's all set up. And then if something happens during the game, we can just kind of take a break and swap one out. So that's what is my plan coming forward. Everybody can see the Swerve Drive Specialist, right? Did I put that site up there? I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody see that? Yes, no? Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can, there's a thumbs up. You can click on or just say yeah, or type in the chat or whatever. But if you can see it, then everybody should be able to see it. So that's good enough for me. So anyway, I don't want to take too long talking about this, but that's what I foresee us doing starting, say, at the end of September. So after we get these 2 events knocked out, I'm going to be bringing that in, and we're going to be spending time putting that stuff together. So with that being said, we need to focus more on programming. Right now, we just got Marlon that has been doing most of the programming, and he's like taking off like I don't know what, and he's really good at it. He's really adept at it. I'm happy that we got him, but we need to have more people that are working on programming. Whether you're learning from him or you're learning from Chris, I'm actually going to take some classes. I'm going to fit it in my schedule that I'm going to work with Kettering, and I'm going to take some programming classes. I got a computer science degree, but the languages that I programmed in, they were before you were born, so they're not really going to help us. So I'm very rusty, to say the least, as far as programming goes. But I'm going to up my game, and I need other folks that are in the team to up their game. So I won't say too much more on that. These 2 things, LED lights, that's all cosmetic for the most part. I got a couple of strands of lights, and I bought the module that we can connect to control it and change colors, make it look fancy. Although there is a more practical use for it. We can, like say for instance, we can put the lights on there like Mr. Whitaker was suggesting. Put the lights on there, and then we have the lights be a standard color, say they're red. But then when we use our intake and we have an algae or we have a coral, we can change them to say green or something. So that's something that's not a necessity, but I want to get working on that. And part of working on that is the programming. So LED lights, that would be something, say after September as well. I mean, because if we decide we're going to redesign the robot, we're not going to really have a lot of time for that. Who knows? I'm not saying no, but I want to prioritize, and LED lights is low on the list. I was not able to get a LIMELight 4 camera. As I'm sure most of the team knows, that I've been fussing about ordering one or getting one for a while, and they're just not available. They're all sold out everywhere. The best I could do was getting that 3A, and I think that's still a good starting point for us. So we need to do some more programming, and we need to set that camera up. And that camera is going to let us use the April tags that are on the field, and it's going to help us with navigating the field and doing some things automatically and autonomously. So that's after we got the Swerve Drive. That was like the first step in taking our team to the next level. Now getting this LIMELight camera and reading those April tags and having the navigation happen more smoothly, without somebody having to react. That's the next thing that we need to work on. But that's also something that we can think harder into, say, after, at the end of September. Something that we need to think about right this second, though, is recruitment. I know that when we were at the Phoenix Fest, I got a couple names. That's on my agenda to reach out to those folks that signed up and said they were interested in robotics. But I need you guys to reach out to your friends, and we need to pull and shoot your enemies. I don't care. We need some more people. So I need you guys to recruit. I need you guys to tell people how fun this is, and how it's work, but it's fun and it's rewarding. I also am thinking of having some recruitment folks that are on the fence. We just invite them to the event on the 19th, and we bring them up there, and they get a little funky day out of school, and maybe that'll help put them over the edge to see if they want to join robotics or not. At the very least, they get a field trip out of it. So we need to do that heavily, because we lost 4 seniors. So we were at 12 or 13 members, and now we're about 8. And while 8 isn't small, 8 is still less than what we had, and we need every member that we can get. So I need you guys to be thinking about recruitment. I need you guys to be working on recruiting folks, making some calls, go through your phones, talk to some folks that you think would be interested, or have them talk to me. Just refer them to me, and I'll sell it. You let me be the salesperson, and you just bring me some folks, and I'll talk this thing up. I don't know how much time I got, so I probably need to go a little faster. Fundraising ideas. I need some. I've been writing grants, and I'm going to continue to write grants. And I think that I'm pretty optimistic about the first one that I applied for, but I don't want to count my chickens before they're hatched. So I'm going to keep applying for grants, and I'm also sending letters to those who sponsored us last year and the year before, to see if I can get them to sponsor us again. But if you've got some fundraising ideas, I'm all ears to hear them. I mean, you don't have to throw them here right now, but I need to put that on your mind. And parents, that means you too. If you got some fundraising ideas, I am all ears. There also, if your employers, if you can connect with your employers and your employers will sponsor us, that would be a great help. 100, 200, 500, whatever. Or if maybe you work for a company that has some parts that we can use, just some scrap metal. There are plenty of times where we could just use some scrap metal, like, not to jump too far off topic, but making a bigger hook. We need some aluminum to make that hook, and if there was somebody whose job had aluminum that was scrap, I mean, we could use that. Okay, I got 10 minutes, so thank you for that. Let's see, fundraising ideas. Okay, and team, I'm not trying to get in your business, but I would like to know about what other commitments you have. Now, I don't need to know about them on this Zoom, but I want to make sure that, like, for instance, I know that Andre was part of student council, and I believe Khalil is on the football team. Just to give me an idea about how I should try to schedule meetings and who I should expect to be at certain meetings. That would give me a better idea than me just throwing on a chat. Well, hey, we got a meeting today. Who's coming? I'd have information in front of me. I'd know who. I'd have a really good idea about who's coming and who's not. And so I'd like everybody to talk to me about that. Again, I'm not trying to get in your business, just to give me an idea so I can better schedule things. And now like I said, we only got 10 minutes. That's pretty much all that I had as far as just talking points and whatnot. When I said Kettering agenda, that was if we met at Kettering today, here were things that needed to be or should be done. Now we were talking about making the hook that we got for climbing bigger, and that's just involves getting some scrap metal and doing some cutting. I'm sorry I didn't think to take a picture of what needs to be repaired on the coral loading system, but it's not as bad. I hope it's not as I'm not making it sound as bad as is, because it's not bad, but there are some things that need to be refastened, and I think we could make some things more effective. Plus, I think we need to add. Well, Mr. Whitaker thinks we need to add a spring to keep the thing from just kind of flopping around. I talked about lubricating the swerve drive gears. We need to we need to retread the wheels because we drove the robot outside, and that's probably about ruined that tread that we have on there. I do have I was authorized to buy some more wheels, so I'm going to buy at least another set so we can have 8 wheels treaded, and then we can just swap out a wheel, as opposed to, okay, now we got to take off the wheels and retread them. We can have other wheels already treaded for that. I believe, Dre, you knew about, there was a bearing that was flipped, so we kind of did a jury rig thing to deal with that. We need to repair that. But that's why I call this Kettering agenda as opposed to just agenda. Does anybody have any concerns or questions that they want to either type in the chat or unmute and say something? Like I said, I'm all ears if you got something on your mind. Anybody?
Yeah, are we just gonna have people just keep putting out thread out of the thread thing we made?
I didn't hear you, sir. Say it one more time.
Are we just gonna have people make a thread out of the thread thing we made? Little thread chart we made, so we always make it correctly.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. I'm probably gonna order another roll of tread also. And this thing is not working. Oh well, I thought it was working and it's not. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns? Parents, you got anything that's on your mind that you think we need to say we need to talk about? We probably got 5-ish sort of minutes. I mean, if not, I mean, I can end it now. Thank you, iPhone. Not sure who you are, but Esperanza, you got anything? Okay, thank you. Yep. Because if nobody has anything,
I don't have anything.
okay, we don't need to hang around. So I'm gonna close this thing out, and then I haven't created the YouTube channel yet, so I'm going to create it, and I'll send on the little on our text chains. I'll for parents and for the team. I'll send you what the channel is called and its location and all that. But last call for anybody. All minds are clear. Yes, no. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. And okay, thank you for participating, and you all have a good night. And I look forward to working some more stuff out later on. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming. Okay, take care, folks.